over the years has been, was never transformed. It's been like that for 40 years.
For decades, Kenya's economy has struggled with one stubborn problem: a lack of transformation. The systems have stayed the same for 40 years. The mindset has been stuck in the past. And as President William Ruto himself admits, it's because people refuse to think outside the box. But when he and Uhuru Kenyatta came into office, they decided enough was enough. It was time to fix a system that had kept Kenya poor, a system that punished workers and left the country dependent on foreign loans. So what did they look at first? Public savings, the money ordinary workers and employers contribute every month to the National Social Security Fund, or NSSF. Here's the shocking truth Ruto revealed. For over 40 years, every single Kenyan worker, whether earning 10,000 or 200,000 shillings a month, was saving the same amount, just 200 shillings. That's less than $2 a month. It didn't matter if you were a low-income cleaner or a high-earning executive. Everyone gave the same 200 shillings. And that, Ruto said, is how Kenya was left behind while its neighbors, Uganda and Tanzania, moved forward. 2 decades ago, both Uganda and Tanzania modernized their systems. They changed their contributions to percentages, 10% from the employer and 10% from the employee. That single decision created massive national savings for both countries. And the result? Uganda today has a bigger social security fund than Kenya. Tanzania too, even though Kenya's economy is nearly double the size of Uganda's and 1.5 times that of Tanzania's. Imagine that. 2 smaller economies now have more savings and more financial power than Kenya. Ruto gave one powerful example. Tanzania's Social Security Fund is now building one of the tallest skyscrapers right in Kenya, on Upper Hill in Nairobi. A Tanzanian project, standing tall in the heart of Kenya's capital. That, he said, should be a wake-up call. Back in 2016, when Ruto was deputy president, he and Kenyatta decided to reform the NSSF. They wanted to change the static contribution model and move Kenya to the same percentage-based system as its neighbors. But not everyone agreed. Some individuals and groups took the government to court to stop the reform. They argued it was unfair or unconstitutional. The case dragged on for years, freezing progress. Then, by what Ruto calls bad luck for those who resisted change, he became president, and he wasn't about to let the old system hold Kenya back any longer. How can you stall the whole country while others are moving ahead? He asked. Even one of his friends, he revealed, had been part of the group that took them to court. But today the results of reform speak for themselves. Once the new percentage-based contribution system was finally implemented, everything changed. Ruto shared the numbers, and they're stunning. From independence all the way up to 2023, more than 60 years, Kenya's NSSF had collected only 320 billion shillings. But in just 2 years under the new structure, the fund doubled. It now stands at 670 billion shillings. By the end of next year, he says, it will hit 1 trillion. And that's when the real transformation begins. With those savings, Kenya will no longer need to borrow money from China or other countries. Instead, it can borrow from itself, from the contributions of its own citizens. That's what developed countries do. Ruto compared Kenya's saving habits to China's. In China, national savings are equal to 55% of their GDP. In Kenya, only 10%. That's the difference between a country that lends and a country that borrows. While China saves and invests, Kenya has been spending and borrowing. We go and borrow from China because they are saving, Ruto said. And now we end up paying them back with interest, using money we could have saved ourselves. It's a powerful truth, and it's one that exposes how Kenya, and many other African countries, have been trapped in a cycle of dependency. When a nation saves more, it builds its own capital. It funds its own roads, bridges, power stations, and housing. It keeps wealth circulating within the country instead of sending billions abroad in loan repayments. That's exactly what Ruto envisions. A Kenya that finances its own development. A Kenya that doesn't need to beg foreign lenders or wait for international approval. A Kenya that trusts the power of its own people's savings. Tell me what's going to happen in 5 or 10 years, Ruto asked. If we can double our national savings in just 2 years, what about the next decade? He predicts a future where Kenya's own Social Security Fund becomes one of the largest investment engines in the region, building industries, housing, and infrastructure using Kenyan money. That's national sovereignty in economic form. The message is simple but revolutionary. The road to independence isn't only about politics, it's about economics, about saving, investing, and building from within. Ruto's reforms, controversial as they were, may have set Kenya on that path. And the proof is already visible in the numbers. In a region where countries are racing to control their own destinies, Kenya has finally joined the race, with one bold idea: that true power doesn't come from foreign aid or external loans. It comes from the discipline of saving, and the courage to think beyond old limits. If this momentum continues, the future might just look very different. Instead of hearing that Kenya borrowed from China, we might soon hear that China borrowed from Kenya. And when that day comes, it'll be because Kenyans decided to invest in themselves.